LeBron James and the Los Angeles Lakers. He said something that many fans whisper in private, but rarely say out loud. He said that the worst thing that happened to the Lakers over the past several years was LeBron James. That is not a small claim. That is not light talk. That is a direct hit at one of the greatest players in basketball history. When someone says that about a player like LeBron, the conversation instantly becomes serious. The focus of this debate is not about whether LeBron is talented. Nobody can deny his skill. Nobody can deny his long career, his numbers, or his impact on the game. The real issue Charlamagne raised is about power and control. He questioned whether the Lakers, as an organization, changed too much to please one player. He suggested that the franchise started moving differently once LeBron arrived. That is the heart of the argument. When LeBron joined the Lakers in 2018, it felt like a perfect match, a superstar coming to a legendary franchise, purple and gold, bright lights in Los Angeles, big history, big expectations. At first, it looked like everything was going according to plan. The Lakers became the center of the basketball world again. Every game was on national television. Every move was breaking news. Then in 2020, they won the championship inside the bubble. A banner went up. That part cannot be erased. A title is a title. But Charlamagne's point goes deeper than one championship. He asked whether the franchise started operating around LeBron instead of leading on its own. The Lakers were always known as a team with strong leadership. In the past, stars came in and adjusted to the Lakers' culture. Magic Johnson, Kobe Bryant, Shaquille O'Neal, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, they all became part of the Lakers system. The system did not bend too much for anyone. That is what made the Lakers strong for decades. During the LeBron era, critics believe the power balance shifted. Instead of the front office clearly directing the future, it often looked like decisions were shaped by keeping LeBron happy. Coaching changes happened, big trades were made, young players were moved, draft picks were sent away, veterans were added for short-term pushes. It felt urgent every year. Instead of building slowly and steadily, the team kept adjusting again and again. One of the biggest topics in this debate is Bronny James. When the Lakers drafted Bronny, many people saw it as a beautiful father and son story, a dream moment, history being made. But others questioned the basketball side of it. Charlamagne argued that if Bronny had a different last name, the conversation would be very different. He said that if Bronny was not LeBron's son, people would be calling that draft pick a mistake. That is where the discussion becomes uncomfortable. The issue is not about attacking Bronny personally. It is about how decisions are made. Was that pick about talent and long-term planning, or was it about family, legacy, and keeping LeBron satisfied? For some fans, that question alone is enough to create doubt. The Lakers are not just any team. They're supposed to operate at the highest standard. Every draft pick, every trade, every hire is supposed to serve winning first. Another flashpoint in this debate involves coaching. There were strong reactions when J.J. Redick was hired as head coach. Some people pointed out that he had no coaching experience at the professional level. Charlamagne questioned why Redick does not receive heavy criticism when the team struggles. He argued that when you have players like LeBron James and Anthony Davis, and now younger talent around them, expectations should be high. If the team is not,
or was superstar influence involved? There were also reports that Jeannie Buss was not always comfortable with how much control LeBron and his agency seemed to have. According to team sources, she felt that the franchise was sometimes seen as being saved by LeBron instead of being respected for its own power. That kind of tension matters. When ownership and superstar camps are not fully aligned, cracks can form behind the scenes. At the same time, it is important to understand the financial side. LeBron is not just a player. He is an entire business machine. Ticket prices rise when he is on the roster. Jerseys sell around the world. Television ratings increase. Sponsorship deals grow. Even in seasons when the Lakers struggled, they remained one of the most talked about teams in sports. From a business point of view, LeBron brought massive value. Supporters argue that in today's NBA, you take that deal every time. You sign the superstar, you go all in, you accept that the window may be short, you push for a title while you can. The Lakers did win in 2020. That validates the strategy in many eyes. In modern basketball, championships are rare and hard to win. Many teams rebuild for years and never get one. But the Lakers' standard is different. One championship in a long stretch does not always feel like enough in Los Angeles. This is a franchise that measures eras by multiple banners. Magic had several. Kobe had 5. Shaq had 3 with the Lakers. The history is heavy. When the team does not look dominant year after year, fans feel disappointed. The debate also touches on long-term planning. When LeBron arrived, the Lakers had young players like Brandon Ingram, Lonzo Ball, and others. Many of them were traded away to bring in Anthony Davis. That move helped win the 2020 title, but after that, more changes followed. Draft picks were moved, roster pieces kept shifting. Critics say the franchise sacrificed future stability for short-term pushes. Supporters respond by saying that is exactly what you are supposed to do when you have a superstar in his late 30s. You cannot plan for 10 years later. You maximize the present. You give yourself the best chance to win now. That is the agreement when you sign a player like LeBron at this stage of his career. Another layer of this conversation is legacy. LeBron has played over 20 years in the NBA. He has broken records, he has carried teams, he has faced constant pressure. Every move he makes is analyzed. When he succeeds, it is expected. When he falls short, criticism is loud. In Los Angeles, that spotlight became even brighter because of the franchise's history. Charlamagne's comments hit hard because they challenged the positive version of the story. Instead of seeing LeBron as the hero who saved the Lakers, he framed him as a force that may have disrupted the natural structure of the team. That framing changes how people look at the entire era. It shifts the focus from one championship to the full picture of wins, losses, trades, and tension. Still, the story is not finished. LeBron continues to perform at a high level despite his age. That alone is impressive. Many players decline sharply at this stage. He continues to score, pass, and lead on the court. Every strong game gives his supporters more confidence. Every bad loss gives critics more energy. The Lakers now stand at an important point. Younger talent is becoming more central. The league is changing quickly. New stars are rising. Teams like Denver, Boston, and others have built strong systems. The question becomes whether the Lakers can smoothly transition from the LeBron-centered era into their next chapter without losing identity. Was the LeBron era a success? The answer depends on how you measure success. If you measure by relevance, money, and one championship, then yes, it delivered. If you measure by sustained dominance and stable growth, you might feel it fell short. Both opinions can exist at the same time. Charlamagne forced this conversation into the open.
He did not soften his words. He did not try to protect feelings. He simply said what he believes. That is why the reaction was strong. Fans are divided. Some feel he disrespected a legend. Others feel he finally said the truth. At the end of the day, the Lakers will be judged by results. That has always been the standard in Los Angeles. When banners hang, criticism fades. When seasons end early, questions grow louder. LeBron's time with the Lakers will be studied for years. It will be debated long after he retires. What makes this era so interesting is that it includes both success and instability. It includes a championship and multiple frustrating seasons. It includes global attention and internal tension. It includes power, influence, and shifting control. The real test will be how the franchise moves forward. Can they balance respect for LeBron's legacy while clearly building their next foundation? Can they return to a steady identity that does not feel rushed every year? Can they create a system that lasts beyond one superstar? Charlamagne asked tough questions. Those questions are not going away. Every Lakers move from now on will be viewed through this lens. Was it about winning? Was it about business? Was it about influence? LeBron James changed the Lakers. That part is undeniable. Whether that change was mostly positive or partly damaging is something fans will continue to debate passionately. And as long as he wears that jersey, the discussion will stay alive. Another part of this debate that cannot be ignored is how expectations changed the moment LeBron signed with the Lakers. Before he arrived, the team was rebuilding. They were developing young players. They were not expected to compete for a title right away. There was patience. There was room to grow. The pressure was not crushing. But once LeBron walked into that locker room, patience disappeared. The timeline sped up overnight. Every season became championship or failure. That kind of pressure affects every decision. When a franchise moves from rebuilding to contending instantly, mistakes become more costly. There is no time to slowly fix things. There is no time to let players develop naturally. Every move must work immediately. That urgency shaped the Lakers' path year after year. Big names were brought in, big contracts were handed out, and when something did not work, it was quickly replaced. Stability was hard to find. The Anthony Davis trade is a perfect example of the all-in mindset. The Lakers gave up young talent and draft picks to pair Davis with LeBron. At the time, many people praised the move. Davis was in his prime. The duo looked unstoppable when healthy. In 2020, it paid off with a championship. But injuries began to slow momentum in the seasons that followed. When Davis missed games, the team struggled. When LeBron missed time, the team struggled. The margin for error became thin. Critics argue that the Lakers built a roster that depended too heavily on two stars staying healthy at the same time. When one piece fell, the whole structure shook. That is one of the risks of the superstar model. If you invest most of your resources into a few players, depth becomes limited. When depth is limited, long seasons become exhausting. In a tough Western Conference, small weaknesses get exposed quickly. The Westbrook trade intensified these concerns. It was bold, it was expensive, and it did not fit well on the court. The spacing suffered. The chemistry looked off. Turnovers became a problem. The defense slipped. That season became one of the most disappointing in recent Lakers history. Fans grew frustrated. Media coverage became harsh. The blame game started. Some reports suggested that LeBron supported bringing Westbrook in. If that is true, critics argue that it shows how much influence he had over roster decisions. Supporters respond by saying front offices make final choices, not players. The truth likely sits somewhere in the middle. In today's NBA, superstar opinions carry weight. That is not unique to LeBron. Many top players have input on team direction. But because LeBron is such a powerful figure, his influence feels larger. Another issue is how often the Lakers change supporting pieces.
Role players came and went quickly. Some had strong moments, others struggled to find rhythm. Building championship chemistry takes time. Constant change interrupts that process. Fans noticed that the team rarely looked settled for long stretches. It often felt like they were still figuring things out deep into the season. At the same time, it is important to remember that the league itself has become more competitive. Teams are smarter. Analytics play a bigger role. Young stars enter the NBA more prepared. It is not easy to dominate for years anymore. Even great teams face strong challenges. That context matters when judging the Lakers' results. Still, the Lakers brand carries special weight. This is not a small market team just trying to make the playoffs. This is one of the most famous franchises in sports. With that fame comes expectation. Fans do not celebrate second-round exits. They do not celebrate play-in appearances. They expect deep playoff runs. They expect control. They expect leadership from the top. Charlamagne's comments hit because they questioned whether that leadership stayed strong during the LeBron era. He suggested that instead of directing the path, the franchise sometimes followed the path set by its superstar. That perception changes how fans view the organization's strength. Even if the reality is more complex, perception alone can shape public opinion. There is also the emotional side of this debate. LeBron has supporters who see him as one of the greatest ever, maybe even the greatest. They believe he has earned the right to have influence. They point to his championships in Cleveland and Miami. They point to his records.
They say he consistently carries heavy responsibility and still performs at an elite level. From their view, criticizing him for having power feels unfair. On the other side are fans who believe no player should ever be bigger than the franchise. They believe the Lakers must always control their own destiny. They worry that too much focus on one superstar can weaken long-term planning. They want to see a clear identity that lasts beyond any single era. As LeBron moves closer to the final chapter of his career, these questions grow louder. What happens when he retires? Will the Lakers have a stable foundation ready, or will they need another reset? That future uncertainty adds weight to Charlamagne's argument. If the post-LeBron era looks shaky, critics will say the warning signs were already there. However, if the Lakers manage a smooth transition, build around younger talent, and stay competitive, then the LeBron era may be viewed more kindly. History often softens debates. Years from now, people might simply remember the 2020 title and the excitement he brought back to Los Angeles. Right now, emotions are still fresh. Every season still feels connected to the larger story. Every roster move feels like part of a final act. That is why the conversation remains intense. It is not just about wins and losses. It's about identity, control, and legacy. LeBron's presence guaranteed attention. Even in down seasons, the Lakers never faded from headlines. That level of spotlight has value. Younger players gained exposure. The franchise stayed globally relevant. But attention alone does not satisfy fans who are used to dominance. In many ways, this era represents a trade-off. The Lakers traded long-term calm for short-term power. They traded steady growth for immediate contention. They traded patience for urgency. Sometimes that urgency worked. Sometimes it backfired. Charlamagne's core message is simple. Winning consistently is the standard in Los Angeles. Not just one banner, not just strong ratings, sustained success. Whether the LeBron era meets that standard depends on who you ask. The final judgment has not been written yet. As long as LeBron steps onto the court in a Lakers jersey, the story continues. Each game adds another layer. Each season shapes the narrative. And when the chapter finally closes, the debate over his true impact on the Lakers will likely continue for years to come.